Today we're going to look at simplifying surds, and we're just going to start straight away. So example 1, simplify each expression. Square root of 7 squared. We know that that's equal to square root 7 times square root 7. When we square any number, we're multiplying it by itself. 7 times 7 is 49. And that just gives us 7. Square root of 49 is 7. Now once you do a few of these over and over again, you will start to realise that you can skip from this step up here, going straight down to here where the answer is just 7. But in the meantime, if you're not too confident with that, you can stop here, take a pit stop, and then progress to the next stage down here. So square root of 7 squared is 7. And that makes sense because if we're taking the square root of something and then we're squaring it, we're basically undoing the thing we did before. It's like saying if I add 1 to a number, then take away 1 to a number, I'm going to end up with the original number that I started with anyway. So part B, 3 root 5 squared. Notice how the square here is outside of these brackets. So whenever you square something, you are just multiplying it by itself. So 3 square root 5 times 3 square root 5. You can only multiply the 3 and the 3 together separately. So if you like doing another colour, 3 and 3 go together, and then the square root 5 and square root 5 go together as well. 3 times 3 gives 9. And once again, I'm going to do this slowly for the purpose of this video, but once you do a few of them, you can do this a lot quicker. Square root 5 times square root 5 gives the square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5. 9 times 5. And that final answer would just be 45. Okay, in part C, again we are squaring. So don't forget that if we're squaring something and the negative sign is inside that bracket there, then it will be minus 2 root 3 times minus 2 root 3. A common mistake is to leave off that second negative symbol there. You must include that. Okay, once again, you can only multiply the numbers out the front together, and then you can only multiply the surds together. Okay, so minus 2 times minus 2 gives 4. Positive 4, remember a negative times a negative gives a positive. Then root 3 times root 3 gives square root of 9. You can do this a lot quicker if you want to. So 4 times 3, and that will give me 12. So that's a final explanation of those 3 examples in there, and of course they're about to get a little bit trickier. Okay, the square root of a product. Looking at this definition in here, a surd can also be simplified if it can be divided into 2 factors where one of them is a square number, such as 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, so forth. Remember how I said before that those square numbers are going to become really important, and you'll really need to commit those square numbers to memory. You must remember them all the time in this topic. So example 2, simplify each surd. So the square root of 50, you need to think which of the squares can go into 50. Okay, and we've got the squares written down at the top there. Think, does 4 go into 50? Well, you can use your calculator to work that out, and you should find that it does not go into 50. 9 definitely does not go into 50. 16 might, maybe, except that 16 times 3 gives 48. So that's obviously not going to be close to 50 for 16 going into 50. And the most obvious one is that 25 goes into 50. So what we're going to do is we're going to write 50 as square root 25 times square root 2. Now, square root 2 can't be simplified, that's fine, that's the final answer there. But square root 25, what is the square root of 25? Do you know what it is? Have a think about it. Pause the video and try and work it out by yourself if you like. The square root of 25 is 5 times root 2. And of course, when we're doing surds, we do not use the times symbol. Like when we're doing algebra as well, we don't use the times symbol. We're just going to write it as 5 square root 2, like so. Okay, part B. Square root of 432. I actually don't know which one of the square numbers goes into that, so I'm going to open up my trusty calculator right now. Okay, and let's check. Let's check the first square. 432 divided by 4. Yes, that does work. So square root of 4 times square root 108. Square root of 4 is 2. Now, 108 here, does that have any factors that are squares? Well, let's check. So 108 divided by 4 gives 27. So that means that 108 can be written as square root 4 times square root 27, which will give 2 times 2 times square root 27. Now 27 can't be divisible by 4. The next one, what's 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. So let's check if 9 goes into that, which I'm sure you should know that it does. Gives 3. So we can then write 2 times 2 times square root of 9 times square root of 3. So that would simplify down to 4 times 3 times square root 3, which gives 12 times square root 3, which is just 12 square root 3. Now, that's a lot of working. Let's count how many lines of working that was. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of working for one question. That's too many. There is actually a quicker way that we could have came to that conclusion. We had the square root of 432. Now remember how we had 12 in the final answer there before? Well, if you had worked that out straight away, that's amazing. Okay, and you did really well to do that. The quicker way to do it would, of course, be to recognise that if you get the calculator again and do 432 divided by 144, which was not on the squares list that I posted in the previous video because I only went up to the 10 squares. 144 is 12 squared. And of course 432 divided by 144 gives 3. So I could have written that down straight away as 144 times square root 3, and square root of 144 gives 12 times square root 3. So we should get 12 root 3. You need to make sure that it's in that final simplest form down the bottom. Okay, the next one, 4 times the square root of 12. Think about which of the squares goes into 12, and of course it's going to be 4. So we get 4 times square root 4 times square root 3. 4 times 2 times square root 3. 4 times 2 is 8. Take the square root of 3 and we should just end up with 8 root 3. That one's a lot easier than the one from before. D. Just focus on the top there, the square root of 288. Now, factors of 288 that are squares. This one looks tricky, but it's actually not too bad. If you think about, if you half that, What's half of 288? Ooh, 144. That's one of our precious square numbers. 12 squared is 144. So we can write that as 144 times 2 all over 3, which gives 12 square root 2 all over 3. And then we can actually cancel out common factors with the 12 and the 3 here. 12 divided by 3 is, of course, 4. So you can do that the proper way, or it's a pretty simple one. You can just do it in your head. You don't need to do it properly like I'm doing. It's a simple fraction, that's fine. So we should get 4 square root 2. Okay, if you have any questions with that method, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck with your questions. Thank you.